What's up guys, Johnny J's here, welcome back to the channel. Well, a lot of you don't know, if you're just following me here on YouTube, is that I do streaming almost 4 nights a week over on my Twitch channel. Of course, link in the description below if you want to give me a follow and maybe even a sub over there, because that's where I do most of my content. One of the things that I've actually prided myself on is actually completing a lot of gameplay playthroughs. And to this date, I have completed over 200 games. I actually made a big deal about completing my 200th game, then realizing when I was reviewing all the videos and all the games in the list, there's a few that I forgot. So I actually had completed almost over 200 by that point. But in my playthroughs, I've actually given up on a lot of games. Now, whether this being too long or just not aging well, I've got 10 games that I have started up on the Twitch channel, but for one reason or another, just gave up. Now, I'm not saying that these are bad games whatsoever. I mean, reviews are subjective. You know, what you might find great, others might find stupid or not fun. That's okay. Everyone's allowed to like what they like. Everyone's allowed to dislike what they like. But these are 10 games in no particular order that I played on my stream, but just gave up on. Now, the first game I contributed to Burnout, and that's Mega Man X7. Now, what happened is on Mondays I did a thing called Mega Man Days, where I would play through all the Mega Man games that I had possibly could go through. And I had gone through the majority of the Mega Man regular series. I still have not played 11. And I was working my way through the X series. X6 gave me a lot of problems because if you didn't collect a whole lot of different stuff, you physically could not beat the game. And then by the time I got to X7 and all of its problems and flaws, I never want to play another Mega Man game again in my life. I have come back to the idea of maybe revitalizing this series on Twitch, but for right now, Mega Man X7 is where I stopped on my Mega Man playthroughs. And I know I'm missing out on the Battle Network games, Network Transmission on the GameCube, all the Zero games on the Game Boy Advance and DS. And I've even lumped Mighty Number 9 in there because I want to see if it is terrible as people say, or it's just the fact that people threw money into it and they didn't get what they wanted. But yeah, Mega Man X7, started it, never finished it. Another one that I started, it's probably like one of those May the 4th games, or one of those May the 4th streams, was Star Wars Bounty Hunter. I heard a lot of good things about this game, and I mean, if it's good enough to get a PlayStation 4 re-release, then it should be good, right? There's a very archaic lives and continue system in the game that can really heed your progress if you're not that great. I think I stopped at Coruscant. I was chasing after a target. I mean, it's got some great mechanics in there, but that lives and continue system, which, I mean, by this time in the PlayStation 2 life cycle, a lot of those tropes have become passé. So when it got to the point where it's like, okay, you have to be pixel perfect on your jumps and the grabs, and in that Coruscant level, it's very easy to get lost. So Bounty Hunter, I just noped out on this one. Another game I have on my list that I don't actually have the physical box for, or cartridge, is Ninja Gaiden. Now, I've played this, attempted to play this several times on stream. One by being a cheating bastard and using save states, and the other one I tried on the NES Classic, trying to actually play it legit. From what I heard people say is that the NES Classic version, the NES Classic games actually have a little bit of input delay. So, you know, when you're trying to be pixel perfect on your jumps and your attacks, a game like Ninja Gaiden's not really the greatest. Now, I haven't 100% given up on this game. I plan to one day go back to it, but I will play it on the Switch because I heard that version is way better. And I have myself an 8-bit do SNES style controller that is paired up with my Switch via Bluetooth. So that should help out with a lot of control issues and input delays. So, I mean, do I really need to explain why people would give up on Ninja Gaiden? It's hard. That last boss is hard. You fail, you fuck up the pattern, you go all the way back to 6-1 and you gotta do the whole thing over again. This one kind of broke my wife's heart because she's a gigantic fan of the series, and that is the very first Tomb Raider. So for Tomb Raider Original, like I really wanted to try it. I never played it to the extent of attempting to play a demo on one of my old PCs and not having the correct graphics cards. I found it was just, the control style just didn't mesh well. I know it was a product of its time, and if you grew up with the game, it was probably super easy, but as someone just brand new coming into it, it was really hard to control. Like you had to time the jumps perfectly with the right animation. It was almost Prince of Persia style in its platforming, and I'm not talking about the Sands of Time. I'm talking about OG Prince of Persia with its rotoscoping animation. Yeah, it breaks my heart because Melanie is a huge Tomb Raider fan, has a massive collection of games for the systems. But yeah, couldn't finish it. Couldn't. I think we stopped at like the temple with the monkeys, and the monkeys kept wrecking my shit. So yeah, Tomb Raider. You were a favorite to my wife, but for me, not so much. All right, so another one that's probably gonna make a lot of people mad because the series is so beloved on the Nintendo. That is Metroid. Oop, gotta remember where the camera is. Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS. So this was shortly announced after Nintendo killed the excellent fan game AM2R, which is another Metroid 2 remake. I highly recommend you seek after that. It has been removed by Nintendo off the internet, but I mean, it was fully completed, fully released, so it's floating out there if you want a really good remake of Metroid 2, The Return of Samus. This is artificially difficult just due to the fact that just regular blasting cannot kill enemies. You actually have to do like timed melee attacks to open them up for attacks, which I guess is fine, but I mean, I just find that they just artificially made this game more difficult than previous Metroid outings. I stopped at probably the second to last boss. Like I was so close to finishing it. I got almost close to the Metroid Queen. But my God, like that last boss where you have to like dodge lasers and then go into Spider Ball, climb up this, like do this bomb, and then you've got this other stage of it. It's a multi-tier stage boss, but you have no reserve tanks. He hits like a Mack truck every time. Like, and I just was like, I was so frustrated with this. I would love for this to come to Switch with better controls. And a lower difficulty. I mean, if you guys can put a difficulty setting on Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance, there's no excuse for not having it on this. So yeah, Metroid, Samus Returns, or The Return of Samus, whatever it's called. And I feel bad because I bought the freaking amiibos for it. And I was gonna do like the hard modes or whatever modes were on there, and I'm like, no, can't do it. So, so close to the end, but not gonna finish it. All right, this one, I think I was just throwing an honorable mention because I just did this on a random May the 4th day. So Star Wars Connect, we were playing through the campaign, then my arms started to get tired. I said I was gonna do more of this, but it's Connect Star Wars, what do you want? I'm not gonna do the dancing games or the other mini games on there. Actually, no, I think I did the pod racing on there, so I lied, but I really can't play this game today. As a lot of you know, I have a condition called frozen shoulder. So it's where buildup happens on your shoulders and it just, locks into place. I had it on this shoulder initially. It's a lot better now, but it's now reverted over to this shoulder. And you see, like, this is as far as I can lift it up without feeling a whole lot of pain. So yeah, asking me to do motion controlled physical games like this ain't happening. So Connect Star Wars, that one's done so. Okay, so I don't have physical boxes for these games, but I'm going to talk about a couple of digital ones. One that's going to make you very, very angry. That's Undertale. I really wanted to give Undertale a chance. I really did. It was voted on by my chat. They wanted me to do a genocide run, which is killing everything in the game. Now, some people will tell you that's not how you're supposed to play the game, but I mean, play whatever you want, however you want. That's what I say. I think I got to, I don't know if it's pronounced Undine or Undine or whatnot, but I ended up getting to her boss fight, and at that point, like, the memorization was just way too much for me. I think it's just due to the fact that I was playing on the Switch and not the PC. With the PC, you could probably, you know, get the timing better with the arrow keys, but just that boss fight broke me. And I never went back to it, and probably never will. Unless people really want me to do a pacifist run, which I don't think I technically can do unless I nuke my game from orbit. Try it again. I don't know. There's like this weird thing, like if you start a game on a certain playthrough, you can't do the other one without having to do this and that or the other thing. But man, Undertale was just like, I wanted to understand the hype. I just didn't get it, and I never went back to it, and probably never will. Another one that's going to make my some of my viewers mad was Castlevania Rondo of Blood. I got the Requiem of the Night bundle pack on the PS4, which came with Rondo of Blood and the PSP version of Symphony of the Night with the updated dialogue that's not super cringy, but Konami, we love the cringe, keep the cringe. But yeah, Rondo of Blood, I wanted to try and play it as legit as possible without like a super duper dependency on save states. I've kind of flipped back and forth on the realms of save states. Will I ever go back to it? Maybe, but I had to give myself a very long break from Rondo of Blood. So like, I think we were about, I want to say halfway to 2/3 of the way done the game. And I just kept hitting a brick wall of platform jumps and boss fights. And I just never went back to it. Okay, and another one that kind of makes a lot of people sad, and they felt bad for me for starting it, and I just didn't really enjoy it all that much. That's the Yakuza Zero. Now, I have a few of the Yakuza games thanks to PlayStation Plus, and this one I found cheap. Oh, by the way, oh man, that's super outdated now, isn't it? Only on PlayStation, right? Not available on Game Pass. So yeah, like I remember watching Super Best Friends playing a bunch of this. I never got into the full LPs because I was like, this might be something I want to get into. Like, it's open world, there's stuff that you can do. I'm like, maybe I'll give it a shot. My main problem with Yakuza Zero is just the fact that as a game to try and stream on Twitch, unless you're a full-time Twitch streamer, which I'm not, this game is incredibly long, even if you don't do the side missions and the side activities, which I dabbled here and there, but then I got to the point where I'm like, okay, let's just do the main missions and get it over with, and it was still taking me way too long. And like, that's the average game length for all of them, and there's like 7 or 8 games now. There's like 6 in the main series, there's a couple of side games, there's one that is and isn't, I think it's called Judgment, and now there's going to be a 7th game that's apparently going to be a JRPG inspired game. So I appreciate this game for what it is, but just for me, like I can't get into it. It's way too long, and I find that like a lot of the dialogue, because it's not all completely voice acted, it kind of drags on a little bit. So I mean, I appreciate it for what it is, but I just can't get into it. Finally, I think I've saved the best or the worst for last. Anyone who knows the history of my channel and the history on my Twitch streams knows that I absolutely loathe just this number in the series. I don't hate the series, but I hate this series in the series. And that's Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13, or 13-3, the third in the game in the series. So backstory, like 13 is probably one of my most hated Final Fantasy games of all time, just because of how linear it is for the first 20 hours, the fact that the story is all fragmented, most of it is told in data logs that you have to read by yourself. I mean, like, if I wanted to read all that stuff, you just should have made a novelization of the story, and I would have read that. And I don't read, so you need to tell me what's going on. First game was horrible. The sequel tried to repair some stuff, which, you know, thankfully, if your leader dies, you don't go game over. It's just switch to one of the other characters. But with Lightning Returns, it's just Lightning, and it plays a lot like Majora's Mask, where time keeps going and you have to do all the stuff to save townsfolk, side missions. I want to say if I'm thinking out, if I'm trying to remember here, I stopped at one of those temples when I found Fang, which that kind of breaks the space-time continuum, because isn't her and Vanille supposed to be like Crystal and holding up? I can't even remember is it Cocoon? Is Cocoon like, no, it's Grand Pulse. That's another reason why I hate this series. Everything's too similar. There's Pulse Seed, Lust Seed, Grand Pulse, Lust Seed. Just like fucking name it the Moon, Crystals, done. Like I can't even hold the game straight. But yeah, like I could not finish this game at all. And I think it's just due to the fact that, and here's the thing too, like I try to do this thing where if I'm playing a series, I don't play that like one after the other, because then I'll get burnout. But I think for this, like Final Fantasy 13-2 and this, I gave it quite a few months in between before I started playing it. And I just was like, Jesus H. Christ, like I could not finish this, and I don't care to finish it. So yeah, Lightning, this game sucks, this series sucks. There are 1,000 other Final Fantasy games for you to play that are way better than this. Yeah, I hate this game. This is like I told you at the beginning of this video, there was no particular order, but this would be number one for like the top like worst games I ever stopped. So yeah, congratulations, Lightning. So guys, that was 10 games that I just said nope to on Twitch. I'm sure there'll be more in the future depending on my moods and the games that I pick. Have there been ever any games that you guys tried playing that you were just nope to? Like you just stopped, gave up? Leave it down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear them. So thank you for watching this rambling about 10 games that I just said nope to on Twitch. I'm Johnny Chase and I still don't have an outro, so see you next time. I guess you could technically call that an outro.